So in a room where you have like, I call this like 6.1 surround. Now out of the 6.1 surround, make sure my microphone is working. Speaker input, yeah, good. Out of the 6.1 surround, you got, the reason why I say 6.1, and this is the 0.1 right here, this is, oh, 1 second, why is this doing this here? Okay, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 speakers on the left and right. No, 6, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you got 1 down here. And this one is the subwoofer. So in my idea, I said, okay, if I'm going to have an individual output here, individual here, here, and even the sub is individual. Now I have all these 16 inputs. I can send one of the inputs to this speaker and increase it to a certain decibel. And then that same input, I can also send it to this speaker and have it on a louder decibel. So in the environment, it sounds like the sound is right here. And based on how I increase the volume of that one input for each of these speakers, will make the sound look like I can place it anywhere in the room. So there's that sound. I can place it wherever. And how do I erase, undo? Okay, there we go. I don't want to get too much on here. So this is what I'm saying. So I can take that sound and I can move it here. And if I increase the volume on these ones, the sound will sound more towards the left of the room. And if I reduce the sound of that one of these 60 inputs on these three, and I increase it over here, well, it's going to draw the sound over here instead. And if I now reduce it over here and increase it over here, well, what's going to happen? That sound that's over here is going to shift a little bit more over here, the more I gradually increase it over here and reduce it over here. So with this, theoretically, I'm able to move the inputs around the room. So I can say, oh, you know what? Based on the volume of each of these, let's say this volume is 7% and this volume is 6% of input number 1. I'm just going to erase here so you have, I got to do this a little bit slower so that way it's not confusing. Let's say input number 7, which is the drum. Okay, I'm talking about the drum for a second. So the drum, I'm going to have volume 7% over here. I'm going to have it maybe 14% over here. So I'm going to increase the volume of the drum 14% on that speaker. Increase it to 20. I wanted to say 20, but I'm just going to put 4 here. And then over here, I'm going to have it like, oh, this is really bad. Pretend that's a 30. And this is 75. Ooh. And this one is 80. Now, can you guess? If the volume of this channel 7, which is the drum, the input of the drum, channel 7, has this volume on each of these speakers. Well, the loudest volume is over here, and it's a little bit less over here, and it's even lesser over here. And it's quiet over here, and it's louder over here, which means it's less over here, so it's less on this area, it's more on this area. So if I come more towards this area, because it's less up here too, so it's more towards here, but it's louder towards this one on this side of things. So the drum might sound like it's right here in the room. You see what I'm saying? So because of the decibel and being able to control the decibel in the 4 corners of the room, I'm able to position the inputs. So the drum I can position here, and then if I have undo, get rid of all this, numbers on these speakers. And let's say I have different numbers in different ones of these speakers for input number 8. Well, then if the drum I placed over here, I can place the piano over here. When I'm talking about place it, I'm talking about virtually, like the sound of the piano will sound like it's right here in the room, and the sound of the drum will sound here, and the sound of the bass guitars over here, the sound of the singers are over here, just as an example. So I'm able to position sound in the room because I've set the mixer up in an unconventional way, and little did I know when I set it up this way that it was able to do this. So it gave so much flexibility to control sound management, because being able to position the sound in different places of the room, not where they actually are, because the drum might actually be right here in the room. Sorry, let me undo some of this so it's clean. So the drum might actually be right here. But in sound space, the main sound of the drum can sound like it's actually right here, based on what the volumes are like in the four corners of the room for that one input. Which means that the sound of the drum doesn't have to be actually where the drum is. So if this area is so close to the PA speakers, and this area is a very hot spot for feedback, then move the sound to a different spot so it eliminates feedback for that environment. So this opened up a whole new opportunity for sound engineers to be able to remove feedback and not be limited to where the audio input is to be causing feedback from that area. But because a lot of instruments and microphones are becoming digital, this gives the flexibility to be able to do that. But if you're working with acoustic instruments, like you're working with acoustic drums, well, the sound is going to be coming where that drum is. It's not, you're not able to digitally move that sound to a different spot, because the sound pressure is coming out of that instrument as an acoustic instrument. But if you got an electric drum set and it's plugged in through cables and the drum doesn't produce sound and it projects sound, well, you can take that projected sound and place it in a different spot of the room by controlling the decibel of that four corner of the room. So that's what I was doing without knowing. And the reason I wanted to do that was to create a more volumized, full, rich, clean sound. And essentially, it was so that I didn't have to have everything jam-packed into one speaker. Like, I didn't want to have this one speaker have everything come, all the inputs come into the speaker at the same decibel. And then as it was coming in here at the same decibel, everything is being jam-packed, and then you get like a noise. It just becomes noise. You don't have clean sound anymore because the sound is not placed properly in an environment. It's just all being blasted out through one small source, which is the speaker. And that was the whole purpose, to make cleaner, clear, like high quality sound. And that's what I was doing. And I didn't know that by trying to create cleaner sound, that it was also giving these other benefits of helping solve feedback zones, and then also helping to solve and give the option to place sound in different spots of the room. I didn't know all those extra things that came with it. So that's what I discovered after setting it up in that unconventional way, just through trial and error of working with it, saying that, man, I plugged the PA speaker here, I plugged the microphone in here, and no sound is coming. What can I do? How do I get sound coming in from this and out to this? And then once I figured out, okay, I'm able to get the sound coming in from this and out to this, let me do the same step for the next one. Let me do the same step for the next one. And that's how it started. I was doing one input to output at a time, and by setting up all these individually, it opened up this ability to do all these things. Because if I had the understanding about, okay, let me set up all the inputs and let me just send them all to one output, then I would have set it up the conventional way where sound engineers go to school and they learn how to do that. But with that setting, you have so many limits and restrictions with the sound. So it was a benefit to be able to trial and error and trying to figure it out one by one, not knowing that by me doing it one by one, I was actually creating something unconventionally which produced something a lot better, which eventually now became spatial audio. And that was like the early stages.